Hey folks, Eric here from DirtyLittleSneakers.com, and I'm here to tell you that on January 14th this year, this is 2019, the lottery for the New York City Marathon is going to be opening. You may be saying to yourself, why would I enter the lottery? Last year, according to the New York Roadrunners, there were 105,184 entrants in the lottery. How many got in? 15,640. What does that mean? 14.98% people, less than 15% of the people that entered via the lottery got into the New York City Marathon. With 50,000 people running the marathon, where are all these people coming from? Well, there's a bunch of different ways that you can get in. First, what I do is something called the 9+1. And that means I run 9 of the races that the New York Roadrunners deems are entrant races for the New York Marathon. And then I volunteer for 1. I actually volunteer for 2. I usually volunteer to hand out bibs at the New York City Half, and then I volunteer to hand out bibs at the New York City Marathon. Great way to meet runners, great way to be an ambassador for New York City, just a lot of fun. The next is the 9+1,000, and that's running 9 of the races that the New York Roadrunners says are entrant races for the New York City Marathon, and then donating $1,000. Basically, you're paying $1,000 to skip your volunteer opportunity. I like to give back to my community, but if you have the money and you don't have the time, by all means, I don't think it's a bad way to do it. But in order to use those 2 options, you've had to complete the 9 races and your volunteer opportunity or donate your $1,000 by New Year's Eve on the year prior. So if you've done it for last year, if you did it during 2018, that means you get an automatic guaranteed entry, not complimentary, but a guaranteed entry into the race in 2019, this year. Another way to get into the race is to run with a charity. There's some great charities out there that get to raise a lot of money for their cause. Most of the charities that I've seen, you need to raise a minimum of $2,500 plus all the entrance fees, get yourself to New York, pay for yourself to stay in New York, and then you get to run the race. That's what I did for Boston. I raised money for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, and I ran the race in 2012. I kind of snarkily call that making my friends and family pay for a race that I want to run, but I was able to give back to the community. I was able to raise some money for a great cause, and I got to run a great race. Next option is you can use a tour operator. That also is going to be a fair amount of cash. You're going to have to lay out, I've seen up to $2,600 for a 3-night stay and a guaranteed entry into the race, and that pays your race fee as well. That's for if you are a local. That also means that you have to get yourself to New York. Not all the meals are included, and you have to get yourself back home after the race. There's the international tour operators, and I looked at just a few of these, and they are pricey. The entrance fee is double what it costs to enter the race if you're doing it by yourself. Another way to get into the race is to qualify. But if you look at these qualifying times, it's actually harder to get into the New York City Marathon than it is to Boston. So my question is, which of these groups of runners represents the largest contingent in the marathon? Because there's 50,000 people that cross the finish line. Actually, more than 50,000 people that cross the finish line. So it can't be the 9+1. There's just not that many local people in New York City that are runners. I can't imagine that it's the charity runners. I'm going to go, it's definitely not the professionals, and it's definitely not the people that are qualifying. I mean, I don't know that for sure. It's anecdotal. I know that the New York Roadrunners doesn't release any of these numbers, but I'm going to guess that it's the tour operators. And why? Because I think they're making a lot of money. I think the New York Roadrunners make some money, and I think the tour operators make some money. But you know what? That's not what I'm here to talk about today. I want to talk to you about why would you, with a 14.98% chance of getting into the marathon, why would you use the lottery to try to get there? Well, I'll tell you. I ran the New York City Marathon for the first time in 2008. And I wasn't even a runner, I randomly just sent it an email because somebody said, hey, the lottery's opening up. Let's see, and I thought, I had changed a lot of things in my life, and I thought maybe this is a good idea for me. Maybe I'll become a runner. You know what? I got in, and then I was like, holy shit, I have to run this race. So why am I telling you that story? It's because it's possible. I know it's slim, but it's possible. And you know what? Because of the lawsuit a couple of years ago, it costs you nothing to enter the lottery. The only way you're going to get charged is if you get into the race. So why would you want to run the New York City Marathon? Well, again, I've run 17 marathons to date, and the majority of them have been in New York City, but I've run in Los Angeles, I've run Boston, I've run the Flying Pig in Cincinnati, I've run the Jersey Shore, I've run a small race in Newport, Rhode Island that was beautiful and scenic, but there's nothing like running the New York City Marathon. So in the next 90 seconds, I'm going to show you what it's like from expo to finish line. So originally I wanted to end this video with the next 90 seconds, but I think that I can't comment after it because it just doesn't make sense. So I wanted to put in this quote. Peter Chacha, the former race director for the New York City Marathon, used to say that it's the largest block party in the city. And my contention is, why wouldn't you try everything you could to get into the race? 15% is better than 0%. So do it. You got a month. All right. Hope to see you on the first Sunday in November.